I stared at the banking app on my phone, remembering Dad's words from 3 years ago. No more trust fund until you get a respectable job like your brother. No daughter of mine is going to waste her life investing in startups from a laptop. Now, at 26, I sat in my private office on the 92nd floor of Manhattan's most expensive building, managing a $12 billion investment fund that specialized in failing banks. Not that my family knew, they thought I was probably waitressing somewhere, learning the value of hard work, as Mom loved to say. Ms. Chin, my assistant's voice came through the intercom. The report on First Heritage Bank just arrived. Their situation is worse than expected. First Heritage Bank, the very institution where my father served as board director, where my brother was a VP of something important, his words, and where my family's reputation had been built over 3 generations of connections and old money. Send it in, I said, already knowing what I'd find. The report confirmed my analyst's predictions. First Heritage was quietly imploding. Bad loans, poor management, and a complete failure to adapt to digital banking had left them vulnerable. Their stock had been sliding for months, but my family was too proud to admit their precious bank was in trouble. My phone buzzed with the usual Sunday dinner reminder from Mom. Dinner at 7. Though I suppose you're too busy with your investment hobby to join your successful family. I'd skipped the last 6 months of dinners, unable to stomach another evening of my brother bragging about his crucial role at the bank while Mom hinted about various suitable banking executives I should date. Claire, I called my CFO, what's our current position in First Heritage? She pulled up the numbers on her tablet. Through various shells and overseas entities, we own 47% of their shares. One more buy and we'll have controlling interest. Their CEO still thinks we're multiple small investors. I smiled, remembering how many times I'd sat at the family dinner table, listening to Dad and my brother discuss bank matters, never noticing that each time they mentioned a troublesome small investor, they were actually talking about me. The shareholders' meeting is next week, Claire continued. They're expecting you to attend, though they don't know it's you, of course. The CEO wants to meet the mysterious Ms. Zhang who's been buying up their stock. Ms. Zhang, my mother's maiden name, which I'd used to build my empire while staying off my family's radar. For 3 years I'd worked in complete anonymity, using the last of my trust fund money to start investing in struggling banks, turning them around and building a reputation as the most feared and unseen force in banking. Time to crash a family party, I said, pulling up the shareholders' meeting details. Schedule the final stock purchase for 10 minutes before the meeting starts. I want to walk in there owning 51% of First Heritage Bank. Your family will be there, Claire reminded me. Your father's position on the board will be up for review once I take control, I finished. Along with every other executive position. My phone buzzed again, a text from my brother. Hey sis, heard you're still playing investor. Let me know if you want a real job at the bank. I could use an assistant. I took a deep breath, remembering the day they'd cut me off. Mom crying about how I was throwing away my education, Dad threatening to disinherit me, my brother smugly offering to put in a word for me at the bank. Claire, I said, standing up, make sure our takeover team is ready. And have my car brought around. I need to go shopping. Shopping? I smiled. If I'm going to destroy my family's illusions about my career, I want to do it in a perfect outfit. After all, First Heritage Bank was about to learn that their worst nightmare wasn't some mysterious Ms. Zhang. It was the daughter they'd written off as a failure. The First Heritage Bank boardroom buzzed with nervous energy. Through the glass walls, I watched my father adjust his tie for the 10th time, while my brother attempted to look important among the senior executives. Mom sat in the observers section, probably wondering why I hadn't responded to her latest text about a nice young banker she wanted me to meet. Ms. Zhang's representatives are here, the CEO announced, his voice betraying his anxiety. Nobody had ever seen the mysterious investor who'd been systematically buying up their stock. I checked my phone. 9:50 a.m. In exactly 10 minutes the final shares would be purchased. My team was already in position, documents ready. That's a lovely Chanel suit, a woman whispered as I took my seat in the back. Are you here with one of the board members? I smiled, thinking of how many times I'd been dismissed in rooms like this. Something like that. At precisely 10 a.m. my phone vibrated. Claire's message was simple, 51% confirmed. You own First Heritage Bank. The CEO took his position at the podium, trying to project confidence. Before we begin, I'd like to address the rumors about our recent stock performance. Actually, I stood up, my heels clicking against the marble floor as I walked forward. I believe there's been a change to the agenda. The room fell silent. Mom's hand flew to her throat. Dad's face went from confused to shocked to pale in rapid succession. My brother's smug smile froze, then cracked. "Sarah," he stammered. "What are you doing here? This is a shareholders' meeting." "I know." I handed the CEO a folder. "As of 10 minutes ago, I own 51% of First Heritage Bank. These documents confirm the transfer of controlling interest to my fund." The CEO's hands shook as he read. This can't be." "Ms. Zhang, I presume?" one of the board members asked. "Ms. Zhang is one of my holding companies," I said, taking my place at the head of the table. "I'm Sarah Chen, CEO of Phoenix Capital Partners. Though some of you might know me better as the daughter who needed to learn the value of real work." Mom made a small choking sound. Dad looked like he'd seen a ghost. "This is ridiculous." My brother jumped up. "Sarah plays with investments on her laptop. She's not your new boss." I finished for him, projecting my fund's portfolio onto the screen. Phoenix Capital Partners, $12 billion in assets, specialized in banking acquisitions and turnarounds, currently rated as the most successful private investment fund in the sector. The board members were all staring at the numbers, at the list of banks we'd acquired and transformed. Dad's hands gripped the table edge as he recognized names of competitors who'd mysteriously recovered after near collapse. "Now," I continued, "let's discuss the bank's digital transformation strategy. Or rather, its complete lack of one. Would anyone like to explain why First Heritage still operates like it's 1985? "We have a digital strategy," my brother protested weakly. "You have an app that crashes every other day and security protocols that a teenager could hack. Your mobile banking platform looks like it was designed when I was in kindergarten. And your loan approval process still involves actual paper forms." The CEO cleared his throat. "Miss Chen, ma'am, perhaps we should discuss this privately." "Oh, now you want to discuss things with me?" I smiled. "Interesting. When my fund's representatives suggested modernization 6 months ago, you dismissed them as young people who don't understand traditional banking." Dad finally found his voice. "Sarah, honey." "Mr. Chen," I cut him off. "Board members should address the majority shareholder formally during official meetings. We can do family titles at dinner. If I'm still invited, that is." Mom was frantically typing on her phone, probably updating her country club friends about her daughter's unexpected transformation from disappointment to banking queen. "The first order of business," I said, opening my laptop, "is a complete review of all executive positions, including, of course, the board of directors." My brother's face went from red to white. Dad's grip on the table tightened. "But before that," I smiled, "would anyone like to discuss the value of a real job?" All in favor of the complete digital transformation initiative? Every hand shot up. Even my brother's, though his arm shook visibly. 2 hours into the meeting, the old guard of First Heritage Bank had been thoroughly dismantled. My father sat silently, watching his decades of traditional banking policies get erased in minutes. "Excellent." I closed my laptop. "The transition team starts tomorrow. You'll all receive emails about your revised positions." Mom hadn't moved from her observer's seat, still clutching her phone like a lifeline. The last text I'd seen her send read, "Cancel the dinner with Richard's son. My daughter apparently owns banks now." "Meeting adjourned," I announced. "Except for the Chen family. We have some private matters to discuss." As the room cleared, my brother attempted to slip out. "I have a meeting with—" "Sit down, Michael," I said quietly. "Your calendar just cleared. Indefinitely." When we were alone, the silence felt heavy enough to crush steel. Dad stared at his reflection in the polished table. Mom dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief, and Michael looked like he might be sick. 3 years, I finally said. 3 years of when will you get a real job? 3 years of being the family embarrassment. 3 years of listening to Michael brag about his vice presidency while I was quietly buying the bank out from under him. "Sweetie," Mom started, We just wanted to control me, to force me into your version of success. I pulled up the bank's financials on the screen. While you were all playing status games at country clubs, First Heritage was dying. Your traditional values nearly destroyed a 100-year-old institution. We were protecting our legacy, Dad said weakly. No, you were clinging to the past while the future happened without you. Do you know why I used Mom's maiden name to build my fund? They looked at me blankly. Because the Chin name meant more to you than your own daughter's dreams. You were so worried about reputation that you couldn't see the world changing around you. Michael found his voice. So this is revenge. Taking over the bank to punish us. I laughed. Revenge? Michael, I just saved your career. In 6 months, First Heritage would have collapsed. My fund was the only thing keeping your stock price above water for the past year. That's impossible, Dad protested. We would have known. Really? Like you knew your daughter was running a $12 billion investment fund? Face it, Dad, you stopped seeing clearly a long time ago. Mom wiped away fresh tears. All those dinners you missed. I was busy buying your bank. Besides, it's hard to enjoy family dinner when everyone treats you like a failure. I stood up, smoothing my suit. Here's how this works going forward. Dad, you can keep your board seat as chairman emeritus. No power, just the title you love so much. Michael, you'll be reassigned to our digital training program. Start from the bottom, learn how modern banking actually works. And me? Mom asked quietly. You can keep planning those country club dinners. Just stop trying to set me up with banking executives. I prefer not to date my employees. I gathered my things, feeling lighter than I had in years. Oh, and about Sunday dinners? I'll start attending again on one condition. Anything, Mom said quickly. We rotate locations. My penthouse has an excellent view of all the banks I own, including this one. As I walked to the door, Dad called out, Sarah? When did you get so powerful? I turned back, remembering all the times I'd sat silently at their dinner table, listening to them underestimate me. I always was, Dad. You just never bothered to notice. In the elevator, I checked my phone. Dozens of missed calls from relatives suddenly discovering their failed family member was a financial titan. A text from Claire, next target acquired. Another family-owned bank in need of modernization. I smiled, thinking of the shocked faces I'd left in the boardroom. Sometimes success isn't about proving your family wrong. It's about showing them that their definition of success was wrong all along. Claire, I typed, schedule a cleaning service for my penthouse. I'm hosting Sunday dinner this week. Let's show my family what their hobby investor has built. After all, revenge may be sweet, but success, real, undeniable success, tastes even better. Especially when served with a side of humble pie. The for sale sign had appeared in my front yard on Tuesday morning. By Saturday, my parents were hosting an open house in the property I'd owned for 6 years. I sat in my study, laptop open, reviewing acquisition documents for the commercial plaza I was purchasing downtown. Through the window, I could see potential buyers streaming through my front door, my mother greeting them with practiced enthusiasm. Welcome. This is a stunning property. 4,200 square feet, completely renovated chef's kitchen, incredible backyard. We're very motivated sellers. Motivated sellers. Of a house they didn't own. My phone buzzed with messages from my sister Ashley's wedding planning group chat. Mom had added me without asking. Mom, the open house is going great. Already have 3 serious offers. Ashley's dream wedding is happening. Party popper. Ashley, I can't believe you're doing this for me, Mom. The venue I want is $85,000, but it's so worth it. Dad, just collected a $10,000 earnest money deposit from a couple who love the house. This is going to work out perfectly. I typed a message to my real estate attorney, Victoria Chong. They're collecting deposits now. How fast can you get here? Victoria, 20 minutes. I'm bringing the full title documentation and a police officer. This is going to be memorable. My parents had announced their plan at Sunday dinner 2 weeks ago. Ashley was getting married in 6 months, and she wanted a wedding that would make a statement. Estimated cost, $200,000. We'll sell your house, Megan, Dad had said as if it were already decided. You've been living here rent-free anyway. Time to contribute to the family. Rent-free. In the house I'd purchased at age 27 for $680,000. Cash from my earnings as a commercial real estate developer. This house is mine, I'd said calmly. I own it. It's not for sale. Don't be selfish, Mom had snapped. Ashley's wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event. You can find a nice apartment somewhere. This house is too big for you anyway. I own this house. It's in my name. You can't sell it. Dad had waved dismissively. We looked into it. You're our daughter. We're your parents. Legally, we can make decisions about family assets on your behalf. They couldn't, of course. That's not how property law works. But they'd consulted some friend of a friend who'd given them spectacularly bad legal advice, and they decided to run with it. I'd watched them list the house online, watched them schedule showings, watched them collect information from real estate agents about comparable sales. I'd said nothing, just waited, because sometimes people need to learn lessons the hard way. Through the window, I saw Dad shaking hands with a young couple, accepting what looked like a check. My mother was showing another family the master bedroom, my bedroom with my clothes still in the closet. The current occupant will be moving out within 30 days, I heard Mom say as the tour group passed my study door. She's been living here temporarily, but the house is definitely available. Temporarily. For 6 years. My phone rang. Victoria. I'm pulling up now. Officer Martinez is with me. Are they actively showing the property? Open house in full swing. They've collected at least one deposit that I've seen. Perfect. Stay where you are. This is about to get interesting. 3 minutes later, my front door opened with authority. Victoria's voice cut through the ambient chatter of house hunters. Excuse me. Can I have everyone's attention, please? The conversation died. I stood, walking out of my study to see Victoria in the foyer, Officer Martinez beside her, both holding official-looking documents. I'm Victoria Chong, real estate attorney. This open house is being conducted fraudulently. This property is not for sale. The people hosting this event do not own this house and have no legal authority to sell it. My mother's face went pale. That's absurd. This is a family matter. This is a property matter, Victoria corrected. She held up the documents. I have here the deed of record for 427 Riverside Drive. The sole owner is Megan Patricia Warner, who purchased this property on June 15, 2018, for $680,000, cash payment, no mortgage. Title is clear and unencumbered. Megan is our daughter, Dad said, his voice taking on that authoritative tone he used when he wanted to sound important. We have the right to manage her assets. She's 33 years old, Victoria said flatly. She's not a minor. You have zero legal rights to her property. What you're doing is called real estate fraud and it's a felony. Now wait just a minute, Dad started. Officer Martinez stepped forward. Sir, did you collect money from any potential buyers today? I collected an earnest money deposit. Perfectly normal in real estate transactions. For a property you don't own. That's theft by deception. Martinez pulled out his notepad. How much did you collect? Dad's confidence faltered. $10,000. But it's going toward my daughter's wedding. It's going back to the people you defrauded, Martinez said. Immediately. Where's the check? The young couple who'd given Dad the deposit stepped forward, looking alarmed. We gave him $10,000. He said the house was available for immediate purchase. I'm so sorry, Victoria said to them. This property is not for sale. These people have no authority to sell it. You'll get your money back right now. My mother found her voice. Megan, tell them this is just a misunderstanding. We're family. We're helping Ashley. By committing real estate fraud with my property? I said calmly. No, Mom. This isn't helping anyone. This is stealing. We're not stealing. We're your parents. What's yours is the family's. Victoria pulled out more documents. Actually, let's talk about what belongs to whom. Megan, shall I present the full picture? I nodded. Megan Warner is the CEO of Warner Development Group, a commercial real estate firm she founded at age 26. Current portfolio value, $127 million across 18 properties. This house, which she owns free and clear, is her personal residence. She also owns the condo complex where you, Robert and Patricia Warner, currently live. My parents froze. The affordable rent you've been paying for the past 4 years? Victoria continued. 50% below market rate. Your landlord is your daughter. She's been subsidizing your housing while you apparently plan to sell her house without permission. The room full of potential buyers was dead silent, watching this family drama unfold with horrified fascination. Additionally, Victoria said, pulling out bank statements, Megan has been making monthly deposits into Ashley's checking account for the past 2 years. $1,500 monthly. $36,000 total. Ashley believed these were wedding gifts from Grandma's estate. There is no Grandma's estate. It was Megan, funding her sister's wedding savings while you all apparently decided to commit fraud to get more. Ashley, who'd arrived mid-confrontation, looked stricken. Megan, is that true? Yes. I wanted to help with your wedding. Legitimately. Not by having my house stolen and sold out from under me. I didn't know, Ashley whispered. I thought Mom and Dad owned this house. They said you were just staying here temporarily. They lied, I said simply. About a lot of things apparently. Officer Martinez was writing in his notepad. Mr. and Mrs. Warner, you've committed several crimes today. Real estate fraud. Theft by deception. Possibly identity theft if you forged any documents with your daughter's name. You need to return all money collected immediately and cease this fraudulent sale. We were just trying to help Ashley, Mom said, tears starting. The wedding venue she wants. Costs $85,000, I finished. I know. I was planning to contribute $30,000 as a wedding gift. I was going to tell you at Thanksgiving. But instead, you decided to sell my house without permission. The silence was deafening. So here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice calm but firm. Everyone who gave you money today gets refunded immediately. You're going to apologize to every single person in this room for wasting their time with a fraudulent listing. The for sale sign comes down. The online listings get deleted. And you never, ever attempt to sell property that isn't yours again. And the wedding contribution? Dad asked quietly. There isn't one anymore. Ashley can have the $36,000 I already gave her. But the additional $30,000? That was contingent on you all treating me with basic respect and not committing felonies with my assets. She was crying now. Megan, I'm so sorry. I didn't know they were doing this. You thought you deserved a $200,000 wedding funded by selling your sister's house. Even if they had owned it, Ashley, did you ever ask if I was okay with being displaced for your party? She couldn't meet my eyes. Victoria addressed the room of disappointed house hunters. I apologize for wasting your time today. This property is not for sale and was never legitimately listed. If you gave money to these people, please stay so we can process your refunds. Otherwise, thank you for your patience. The crowd dispersed slowly, some shooting disgusted looks at my parents, others just grateful to escape the awkwardness. After the refunds were processed and the last confused buyer had left, my family stood in my foyer looking lost. What happens now? Mom asked quietly. Officer Martinez, are you pressing charges? I asked. He looked at my parents with clear distaste. That's up to Ms. Warner. She's the victim here. I considered it. Watching my parents sweat. Watching them realize they'd committed actual crimes. No charges, I said finally. On one condition. You move out of my condo within 60 days. I'm selling that building and I don't want to be your landlord anymore. Find your own place. Pay market rent. Learn to live within your actual means instead of mine. Megan, Dad started. I'm not negotiating. You tried to steal my house. You're lucky I'm not having you arrested. But this, I gestured around my home, this is over. The subsidies, the secret gifts, the funding your lifestyle while you treat me like I'm nobody? Done. We never treated you like nobody, Mom protested weakly. You tried to sell my house without asking me. You told buyers I was a temporary occupant in my own home. You've been living in my property at half price while planning to profit from my assets. That's exactly how you treat someone you consider nobody. Ashley approached hesitantly. Megan, I really didn't know. Can I still have a relationship with you? I looked at my little sister. 26, engaged, caught up in wedding fever and our parents' manipulations. That depends on you, Ash. Can you have a relationship with me that doesn't involve me funding your dreams while being treated as invisible? I want to try, she said softly. I'm sorry. For all of it. Then we'll try. But the $85,000 venue? Find a different one. The money I gave you is all you're getting from me. The rest is your responsibility. She nodded, still crying. My parents left without another word. Dad clutching the refund receipts, Mom dabbing at her eyes with tissues. After they were gone, Victoria started packing up her documents. You handled that well. Did I? I feel like I just nuked my family relationships. You set boundaries with people who were committing crimes against you. That's not nuking relationships. That's basic self-respect. She paused. For what it's worth, the shock on their faces when I revealed your actual financial situation. Priceless. I laughed despite myself. They really had no idea. Because you never told them. I wanted to see if they'd respect me without the money. Turns out they didn't respect me even with it. They just wanted to steal it. Victoria left, Officer Martinez following after confirming no charges would be filed. I stood alone in my house that I'd earned, that I'd purchased, that was mine, and felt the weight of the day settle over me. My phone buzzed. Ashley. I'm canceling the $85,000 venue. Found something nice for $15,000. I don't need the huge wedding. I need my sister. Can we have coffee this week? I typed back, Tuesday 10 a.m. The place near my office. Thank you. I love you. Love you too. My parents never apologized. They moved out of my condo 58 days later, leaving passive-aggressive notes about how I'd become too successful for family. I sold the building for $4.7 million. Ashley's wedding was beautiful. Intimate. $15,000, mostly funded by the money I'd already given her. She invited me to help plan it. Asked my opinion. Treated me like a sister instead of an ATM. My parents weren't speaking to me. That was fine. The house they tried to sell stayed mine. The relationships built on respect stayed healthy. And the people who'd tried to commit fraud to fund a party? They learned that property law is real, consequences exist, and some houses are simply not for sale. No matter how badly your sister wants a champagne wedding on a beer budget,